So what if I told you you're not drawn to their potential, you're drawn to earning love? At the end of the day, there's so many people who say, why do I keep attracting emotionally unavailable people? And overlooking that they are not available for their own emotions. Because if they were, they would recognize that they don't feel good, right? And it's so funny because even in that moment of saying, well, why do I keep attracting emotionally unavailable people? You're frustrated. But do you even recognize and sit with the reality that you are frustrated and that there's a pattern history that you don't like to be in, but you keep participating in? Okay? And there's one thing I started to look at in terms of my connections and my relationships, or just historically, what have I been pursuing and what have I been subjected to? What have I been a participant in? What have I created in my own life space? Okay. A lot of times it becomes this thing of like, all right, cool, I'm seeing a recurring pattern of the same relationship ending with different people. So what does that say? There is a common denominator. There's a pattern I'm comfortable with. What is it? Okay. A lot of times we are so eager to earn people's love, to earn being liked, that we don't realize that that is not the goal in life. We lost the plot. Okay? Love in itself is not meant to be earned. Right? Love is essence. Love just exists. Like when we care about people, we just care. You feel it. Okay? But to love a person doesn't even always mean you got to be in a relationship with them. Love means action, right? It means doing something. It also means loving yourself too. All right? Not putting yourself in situations where you are constantly having to recover and heal. And if you're the type of person that is always trying to earn love, even in that moment, that's a form of manipulation. Okay? Which means that I'm trying to win you. Think about a baby. You see a baby, it's like, man, this little delicate little thing, I want to take care of it, right? I want to love on it. I want to protect it. I want to make sure it's okay. This could be anybody's baby a lot of times, right? I'll walk down the street and I'll see a baby. I'm like, oh man, my heart. And I would never want to see anything happen to that baby. That's care, right? And if it was my responsibility in that moment and I had to protect, I would. Okay? And I don't expect to earn anything from that baby. There's nothing that baby can give me. It's already filling my heart just by existing. And when we think about love too, right? A lot of times we can just really love a person just because they exist. And it's not because they give you anything in return or anything to that degree. But there's a difference. Right? A lot of times we move through the world thinking that we are not supposed to have expectations of our relationships or in our relationships, even when it comes to friends. Right? But you are. You just got to know what those expectations are. Okay? It's important to ask yourself, what do I expect to get from people? What am I looking for? Okay, what do I desire to have? What do I feel frustrated that I don't actually have? What does love actually translate for me? How do I translate that? A lot of times we don't even know what love is because we are so hyperfixated on performing, right? I posted a video the other day when I was saying the goal is to not be liked by people you can't even trust. Because if you don't trust this person, nothing that you receive from them will ever make you feel whole. Right? You might be seeking validation, and even in that moment, it's pretty empty. Because you don't trust them. All right? And a lot of times, if we're being honest, we may not be ready for deep, enriching connections that hold us accountable and that make us sit in the discomfort of how we move. Because that requires commitment and responsibility, right? And also, it doesn't always give us the brownie points that we desire. That's why we are involved with emotionally unavailable people. because they give us something to chew on, they give us something to chase, they give us a challenge. And you gotta realize the fact that you keep existing in relationships where your needs are not being met, you're reinforcing what you say you don't want. Well, I'm so tired of being treated like I don't matter. Okay, so what are you doing about it? What does that look like in real time with the connections that you have? Okay, how are you removing that pattern? And sometimes we will readily involve ourselves in emotionally unavailable relationships because we feel like, well, if I can just fix you, if I can just change you, then you will love me. I will be loved. And now I earn this validation that I've been seeking since I don't know how long. But it never quite happens, does it? You always feel tired. You always feel empty. You feel angry. You feel disappointed. Sometimes it's just important to sit there and say, do I like the experience of this relationship? And can I sustain this connection without becoming resentful? Can I sustain this connection without becoming bitter? Can I sustain this connection without losing myself? And you just answer yes, no. Make it real simple, yes or no. Do I like how I feel in this relationship, yes or no? If the answer is yes, all right, cool, continue to do your thing, have at it. But if the answer is no, what am I willing to do about it? Sometimes we fear so much being disliked or being perceived as a bad guy that we will continue to exist in relationships that we say we don't like. And sometimes we are more emotionally unavailable for ourselves than the people we are pursuing, because that means I'm not even sitting with my feelings in terms of how I feel. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not being emotionally present for what's going on in my body, because I'm making sure somebody else's needs are being tended to. And now you have two people taking care of one person and nobody taking care of the other. All right? So I challenge you sometimes to just sit still with this reality and understanding, like, hey, do I keep engaging in emotionally unavailable relationships because they give me a pass to avoid myself and not be available for the discomfort of what I have to work on? It's just something to think about, but also practice. Because the more honest you get about how you feel and what you don't like to feel, the less of a pattern of relationships that disappoint you will exist. And this doesn't mean becoming completely avoidant and cutting other people off. No, it requires balance. Communicating to other people even, hey, this is what I've noticed in this pattern. I don't like how this feels. What are we doing about it? Probably feels uncomfortable to even think about saying out loud, right? Yeah. The way to not continue to engage in emotional unavailable relationships is, one, to be more available for yourself as a person. But two, stop seeing love as something that you earn. Love is not transactional, it's truth. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.